Goes on, guys, welcome back to the channel. In today's video, I'm going to be going over the game plan for this week. Pretty simple. We're going to start off with SPY. You guys know I haven't been trading SPY that often, but I'm probably going to get back into it because I know the 0DT crosses have been working out a lot better. There's definitely a few during the week you could have caught, but my outlook on SPY is this. So if we go here on the weeklies, it depends where we open. We're either going to get the 645s or the 640s. I'm just pulling up the 645s. But on the 30-minute here, what do we see? We see the market's bullish. So the 10 SMA is above the 50. 50 is the blue, 10 is the green. With this cross happening, the market's bullish, and we're only focused on the upside. When we look at the higher time frames, we're sitting at some resistance right now. We're at that 1 hour 50, which we did break above a little bit. We still have this 2 hour 50 above, and then we have the 4 hour obviously up here, and then the daily is actually going negative. So this is one of those circumstances where I wouldn't say I'm entirely confident of upside, but I do favor higher just because of the monthly contract. So if we flip to the monthlies really quickly, this is what the bigger picture contracts look like. So we always have our Friday contracts on our watch list and then our monthly contracts. So the monthlies are for September. Because this is going to be a week before the current ones that we were using, because previously we were using the August 15th ones. That's what we used for a couple of weeks, and then the week before that expiration, we flipped to the next month out expiration to see the higher time frame trends. So you can see what it is. You can see 10's above the 50. We closed below the 50 right here, and then we got back above it and then bounced from the 50. So overall, bigger picture on SPY right now is pretty bullish. I mean, there's really nothing that is bearish. Only thing is that weekly chart. The daily chart was going negative. Then we have the higher time frames looking more bullish. This 10 SMA is down quite a bit. I'd like to see this straighten up a little bit and get this 10 SMA to come more flat. But just based on this chart alone, it does look bullish. Again, we'll play what we see. When it comes to SPY, obviously I wouldn't say I'm as confident, but it just kind of mixed signals right now. I'd love to see the weekly chart here on the daily get back above this 50 and recross. That'd be like best case scenario, and we just rip higher. That's when I'd be fully confident in the market going higher, is if this daily chart here could recross, because right now that 50 will be some resistance. It's nothing too crazy, but you can see it is pretty flat. So I don't even know what the 4 hour looks like actually. Yeah, the 4 hour is sloped down quite a bit. So that's at like 246. What's this 50 at? 246. So that's actually above the daily a little bit. But yeah, the daily chart right now, it's kind of mixed signals. I mean, daily chart's going negative. This is typically more bearish, but we do have the monthly chart kind of propping us up, and we're just going to have to see how it plays out. Higher time frame says higher. The weekly show, it's a little bit more bearish, but only thing that that doesn't make me as confident in the downside is this daily 50. I mean, daily 50 is still pretty flat. If we get a pump up to it and we break above it and close above, then I'd feel confident we go higher. So it's kind of just a waiting game to see where we go. And obviously we could play the intraday crosses on the zero-day charts from there. But yeah, right now SPY wouldn't say best looking chart in the world for upside or downside, just because it's kind of like mixed signals right now. So I'm gonna flip to some options that I do really like. I mean, these are really good setups going into the week. Obviously the Discord, we'll get the entries to private Discord. Again, I've been mentioning it. I just want to keep mentioning it if you guys haven't watched, but I'm running my own Discord now. This is all solo. I was running it with the creator of the strategy. Now I'm going back to how it was before, where I'm running my own Discord. All the futures trades, all the option trades will be posted in there. So if you guys want to see these play out throughout the day live, then that's the place to be. I'm giving my entries, my exits. I mean, it's pretty simple. So you don't need to be in there to learn. I got all the videos on YouTube. You can just join the free chat if you want and ask some questions. But the private is more so just learning quicker, I guess you could say, because you could ask me questions throughout the day. Obviously, you can still do that in the free chart or in the free access section, but like throughout the day, the process of the trades developing, and I feel like that's where if you want to learn a little quicker, that's the place to be. Got a ton of examples in a channel in there of plenty of examples of how I trade the system. So that's the place to be if you want to learn and see the trades live throughout the day. But yeah, let's go to Apple really quickly. So if we go here on the monthly chart, you guys can see, I mean, look at this monthly chart. I know Apple has ripped a ton lately, but I think this is going to go higher. It's pretty simple. So you can see this monthly chart. The monthly chart tells you the main trend in the market, or the bigger picture trend on a stock. So Back in here, you can see we rejected this 50 right here, right here, right there. We're finally breaking above and crossing. Yes, this could pull back a little bit because prices at $4 a piece. The SMAs are at like 2 to 170 a piece. So, you know, wouldn't surprise me if Apple did pull back a little bit because it is pretty extended. I'd love it if we get a pullback. This is gonna be a beautiful opportunity this week for a swing. So, Apple is definitely one I'm watching. So we got the daily chart crossing here, and then when we flip to the weekly chart. You can see that if we go to the 30-minute, it's really extended. I'd love to get a pullback here to this 50 SMA, which is quite a ways to go. It probably won't pull back all the way, but if it does, great opportunity to add. But if we look here on the higher time frames, this 4-hour chart is beginning to cross, and then if we flip to the daily chart is also setting up to cross, which it could take a day or two, but you know, we did break above that daily 50 SMA. Monthly chart is just crossing, so most likely this chart will get us across. Since that higher time frame chart is just crossing, that'll most likely just send us higher. So Apple's one I'm definitely gonna be watching for. I'm 100% going to be taking a trade on Apple this week at some point, unless Apple just has a massive gap down and we never get the cross. But again, Apple is one that I'm going to be looking for. I went over this, I think, in the last video, but APP, if we go to the daily chart, which we're already on, you can see what's happening. It's the same concept as Apple. I mean, we're getting this daily cross on the monthly chart, so we're finally getting that bigger picture trend flip. And, you know, it could pull back, like I said, just like Apple. So if we get any dips, you know, this is a good opportunity to add for a swing for like 2 to 3 weeks out. But yeah, APP, it's the same concept. We're just playing these crosses on the bigger picture chart. And then obviously you could flip down on the weekly chart to gauge maybe like a dip buy. So APP, love that setup. Microsoft, I went over this again in the last video, but these are just some setups that I do really like. So if we go here, Microsoft 30-minute chart, puts are still crossed right now. I would love to see this 10 SMA cross below the 50 SMA be level or curling down to take an entry to go along on Microsoft, because I know these are actually the same contract. I don't know why, but I know on Microsoft that the daily chart is sitting right around the 50 SMA. So again, that bigger picture support and paired with the weekly chart going negative means that that's going to confirm that we're going to bounce off of that 50 SMA on the monthly contract. So you know, that's why you just wait. It's a waiting game. You know, even though this chart was crossed, I'm not going to take the entry yet. I'm waiting for that extra confirmation, because once this chart goes negative, we're going to get a fat rip on Microsoft. And guess what? If it continues to dump and break the 50 SMA on the monthlies, then you know this chart is not going to go negative, and we're going to go even lower. So that's kind of like why that's why I like waiting for this chart to go negative. It's an A+ setup if we get it. So Microsoft, one that I'm really going to be watching for. What else we got? We got Google. This is another really good setup. So if we start on the monthly chart, you can see what happened. So if we go over here, we finally, you know, we crossed back up in here. You can see the move we got. Very nice. We're just trending up and up and up. Came down to 50, broke the 50, got back above the 50, and then ripped. So if we go to the 30-minute now, I really like this chart. So this is actually the wrong one. So if we go to the 30-minute, again, charts crossed, gave a nice opportunity on what, Friday to go long. Yeah, Friday off of open, you could have taken a long, a little bit higher risk, because I mean, it's not too bad actually if you took an entry off of open after that 30-minute candle. But you can see what happened, 150 all the way to 275 on these contracts. And if we look at the higher time frames, what's going on? We had this 4-hour chart just beginning to cross. I hope we get a dip on Google, because this is setting up to be a fat move this week. This is where the system's great, because these are the trades that are like 98% chance of it playing out in your favor, because when you have all these confluences in sync, like this 4-hour chart going and crossing, the monthly chart already crossed on the daily chart, and then we also have the 4-hour and the daily chart crossing all at once. I mean, this is just a perfect setup. 10 SMA pointing up hard, 50's already curling up, and we get this cross on the daily chart, this thing's going to absolutely fly, and we're going to catch a big move out of it. So Apple and Google are probably my highest confidence trades for the week. Obviously, there's a chance that we don't get an entry on this and it like dumps and we never get the cross on the daily chart. But again, if we do get that setup, this is going to be such a good trade to take for both Apple and Google. But those are some setups that I'm looking at going into this week. Private Discord will get the entries for those, just because obviously I'm not going to be giving out those for free. But I'll give you guys, what I'm looking for, and you guys could just apply the same thing that I'm looking for. Setting up to be a good week. I mean, we have a lot of good looking setups, and more setups will come throughout the week. So yeah, it's pretty simple. We're just playing crosses on option contracts. If you guys are new, I know it's probably a little confusing. That's why I have all these videos on YouTube to kind of watch and see how this works. But in my opinion, this is the easiest way to trade. You're not drawing any lines on your charts. So you literally just have to watch 2 SMAs, and you play crosses, and you play like dip buys on the 50 SMA. You're either buying at the 50, which is the blue line, or you're playing the cross of the green and blue line. I mean, it doesn't really get simpler than that. I feel like this is the simplest way to trade, especially swing trade. I mean, swing trading with this is very, very simple and very easy. It's stress-free because, you buy some time. It's very clear cut and dry. I always said this in the last video, but, you buy at the 50, okay, we close below the 50, you stop out. We hold the 50, you continue to hold and trim along the way, at least like 60 to 80%, I'd say, before trimming anything, because, cutting before that is really just doing yourself a disservice. Because when we get these moves that we're looking for, they usually net at like a couple 100%, honestly, like every time. So that's why I kind of like waiting for 100%. Like if you're taking like a dip buy at the 50 SMA, wait for 100%, trim half, and then scale every like 50% from there, from the remaining position. But yeah, that's why sometimes we do get in a trade and we're up like 50-60% and I don't trim, and it comes back to my fill and I stop out. I mean, it sucks, but you could have been like, oh, I should have trimmed I should have just sold it. But that's just hindsight. I mean, when I'm looking for a certain move, and if we don't get it, we don't get it. I really don't care. If it comes back down, yeah, sure, I wish it went higher, but it's not part of my plan. I'm looking for that big move, because when we get these crosses on the daily chart, this is multi-day continuation. Like when we're just buying this 50 SMA dip, let's just say down in here. I mean, obviously we're not even crossed yet. This isn't the best example here, but because this is not even a monthly chart. But if we look at what was a good one? I don't even know. What do we have pulled up? I don't think any of them were really trending that much. But if we pull up the monthlies on Google, so if we pull up the monthlies, you can see. All right, right here, obviously this 50 curled. We got, there's probably some sort of 30-minute cross that happened in here that netted a pretty big move. I mean, these contracts alone went let's see, like 2 to 4, so that's 100% on these contracts. But if you're playing the 30-minute cross, see, like right here, there'd be no dip buy at the 50 because the 50 SMA is trending down. So you'd be playing the 30-minute cross in this scenario, and you would have caught a fat move, because these contracts alone went 100%. Weeklies would have probably went probably like 2 to 300% in that range, and that's why I'm not selling for that, like 50-60% most of the time. So because once we get this move from the 50, it's a multi-day thing. So you can see we bounce out the 50 curled. We got 1, 2, 3 days of continuation, and they're all green candles, and that's where you'd be selling again. And then once we recross, obviously we recross, you got to wait for the closure back with a 10, the 50, and it's like, okay, you take this swing here. It looks really good. I mean, it looks way better than it was back in here. The 50's up super hard, 10's up super hard, multi-day continuation. We get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 days of straight green candles on this chart. Obviously, the weeklies go, much more than this. So if you got in on this candle, 250 to, $6, that's almost like, what, 200%? I mean, then the weeklies, of course, run even harder. So it depends on the expiration you take. 30-minute cross happens somewhere in here, and then same thing is happening now where we bounce out the 50. Obviously, we close below it, so if you did try to buy this 50, you probably would have stopped out. But again, we trended up higher from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 days, and we're still ripping, and it's probably going to go higher. So this is why I like holding for multiple days, because most of the time we're going to get that multiple day move higher. That's just how this system's designed and how it's like working. So if I'm up like 50% on day 1 and we're just at this 50 SMA, like I'm not going to sell it. I'm going to hold it for the multi-day move. So hopefully that makes sense. But that's pretty much all I got. If you guys enjoyed, drop a sub. If you guys want to learn, join Discord down below. But yeah, that's all I got. I'm out. Peace.